Ursus arctos middendorffi is a creature of staggering proportions. Standing upright at 10 feet tall, its scale rivals that of the polar bear, making it one of the largest terrestrial carnivores on the planet. This massive stature is the result of a 12,000-year geological trap. As the last ice age glaciers receded, rising sea levels severed the land bridge to the Alaskan mainland, marooning a population of brown bears on the Kodiak Archipelago. Since that separation, the archipelago has become one of the most crowded bear habitats on Earth. Approximately 3,500 bears now occupy the islands, living in some of the highest densities ever recorded for the species. This isolation turned the islands into an evolutionary pressure cooker. Without competition from other large predators, the unique constraints and resources of the archipelago began to rewrite the bear's biology. The mystery of their size isn't found in their core DNA. Genetically, Kodiak bears are nearly identical to the smaller grizzly bears of the mainland, yet they develop into significantly larger adults. This chart highlights the role of phenotypic plasticity, the ability of a species to reach different body types based solely on its environment. In this case, a consistent supply of rich, protein-heavy food triggers growth that mainland genetics rarely achieve. The resulting physical scale is extreme. Mature males often reach 1,500 pounds and stand 10 feet tall, while females exhibit significant sexual dimorphism, typically remaining about 30% lighter than the boars. Their iconic shoulder hump is a solid mass of muscle tethered to the spinal column. This adaptation provides the mechanical leverage needed to excavate dens in frozen earth and flip heavy boulders while foraging. Their skeletal growth continues for over a decade, resulting in world-renowned broad skulls. Hunters and researchers have found that 17 of the 20 largest bear skulls ever recorded belong to the Kodiak population. These physical attributes function as specialized biological instruments, engineered over millennia to harvest an environment of absolute abundance. While their size suggests a pure carnivore, Kodiak bears are opportunistic omnivores. Their spring diet begins peacefully, with bears grazing on emerging sedge grasses and high-protein forbs. During the salmon runs, they practice a strategy called high grading. Because the fish are so plentiful, bears consume only the most calorie-dense portions, the brains, skin, and eggs, discarding the rest to maximize fat gain. This seasonal rhythm is currently shifting. Rising regional temperatures are causing red elderberries to ripen weeks earlier than they did in previous decades. This chart illustrates the berry switch. As berry season moves to overlap with the salmon run, many bears are abandoning the streams for the hillsides, preferring the specific carbohydrate to protein ratio offered by the fruit. The abundance of the archipelago allows Kodiak bears to act as highly selective eaters, optimizing their macronutrients to build winter fat without the need for high-risk hunting. High food density creates a social challenge. Naturally solitary apex predators are forced into close proximity at prime fishing holes, sharing small territories that would normally be defended. They maintain order through a peacekeeper social language. Using a hierarchy established by huffing, jaw-popping sounds, and physical posturing, they avoid the energetic cost and physical risk of actual combat. This summer feast funds an 8-month winter hibernation. Inside the den, pregnant sows give birth to cubs weighing less than a single pound, blind and hairless survivors born into the year's harshest famine. NASA researchers study this process to understand how the bears survive months of total inactivity without losing bone mass or muscle tone. Their ability to avoid the toxic effects of urea buildup during dormancy remains a point of intense medical interest. Survival is most difficult for the juvenile delinquents, subadults between the ages of 3 and 5. These bears have recently left their mothers and face high mortality rates as they attempt to navigate the social hierarchy and avoid human conflict. While abundance produces giants and forces a level of social tolerance, the population is kept in check by the high stakes of raising microscopic young and surviving the long winter sleep. For 7,500 years, the Alutiiq people maintained a sustainable, respectful relationship with the bears. That balance was upended during the industrial expansion of the 20th century. The arrival of commercial salmon canneries redefined the value of the island's natural wealth, turning the shoreline into a fiercely contested industrial zone. Cattle ranchers and commercial fishermen viewed the giant bears as agricultural pests and direct competitors, leading to a period of intense conflict. This conflict escalated into a systematic slaughter. Bears were poisoned, trapped, and shot from airplanes in an organized effort to clear the landscape for industry. The same ecological abundance that engineered the bear's massive size nearly led to its extinction, as humans arrived to claim those same salmon in grazing lands. A critical turning point arrived in 1941. Recognizing the value of the species, the federal government intervened to stop the island's eradication efforts. President Franklin D. Roosevelt established the Kodiak National Wildlife Refuge, providing permanent protection for the bear's core habitat and ensuring the archipelago would remain wild. Today, a unique alliance of sport hunters, biologists, and residents maintains the population through strict regulation. This management has allowed the bear count to return to its healthy historical level of 3,500. The Kodiak bear exists today as a global template for how a thriving apex predator and modern human society can share the same limited space. If you were exploring the Alaskan wilderness, would you rather cross paths with a Kodiak bear or its cousin, the polar bear? Tell us your choice in the comments.